If the product owner doesn't represent developers, who does? Developers are used to make decisions on the how to implement something. If you do that, you can be sure of something. Developers will hate you. If you don't have this connection, then you are failing as a product owner. Hi, I'm David Pereira. Welcome to my channel. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about another career transition from developer to product owner. This is something that is common to happen because many developers aim to do something different than development. Then they may choose the product owner role. I didn't do that particularly, but when I became a product owner, I was still a developer by heart because I worked as a developer for 6 years, then 1 year business analyst, and after that I became a product owner. But I'd like to share with you some aspects that you should pay very close attention to, otherwise you are going to lead the team to fail. And the first of them is what I call know who you represent. In short, you represent the customer. You don't represent developers, you don't represent stakeholders, but I'd like to share a case with you. In one of the companies I worked, I was guiding a developer to become a product owner. And he got quite annoyed because I was taking him to a lot of business meetings and understanding the future of the product and what we would do next and so on. And he looked at me, well, but when are we gonna talk about our stuff? And I asked him, what do you mean by our stuff? He said, well, you're not talking about the technical debt, you're not talking about improving the code quality, you're not talking about any of these things. And my question is, if the product owner doesn't represent developers, who does? And then that was a good question. And it was the moment I realized he didn't know who he would represent. Product owners do not represent developers. We are not developer owners. We are also not the stakeholders owners. We represent the customer. We want to make the lives of customers better. And by doing that, consequently, the business will benefit from it. But when it comes to the question, who does represent developers? Well, Scrum says developers, they are self-managed. They are autonomous. So it means that they make the decisions that are best for the product in terms of technology and so on. But once you decide to take this transition from developer to product owner, you should keep in mind that you are not going to represent developers. If you try to please developers, then you are going to go to the wrong direction. Why? Because the product is a means to an end. What you want to achieve is to enable customers to do something. But if you focus on the technology, it's wrong because this is not what you want to do. You want to enable users. So keep that in mind before you make decisions to please developers. Of course, you should be aligned on the best way possible to build the product in a sustainable way. But it's never about representing developers for the business. And also the contrary is not true. You don't represent the business for developers. You are part of the single team called the Scrum team, and you go in the same direction. And another aspect is about decisions. Developers are used to make decisions on the how to implement something, how to scale something, but they are not so used to make decisions on the why. Why should we solve that? In this case, you have to adapt because you need to think more globally. You need to think about which goal you want to pursue and why is that important, which problem you want to solve, and why is that important for the end user. If it is important for you, it doesn't matter at all. It has to be important for the end user. And if you are a developer moving to a product owner role, you should spend time with these questions instead of trying to find better ways to implement the solution. It is not your role anymore to find better solutions for the problems. Your role now is to find problems that are worth solving and bring to the team. And this connects me to this third point, bring to the team. Because many times, that happened with me quite often. When I started as a product owner, because I had development knowledge, I thought I knew how to do things, And then I would not bring everything to the team, and I would make decisions on my own. For example, which technology to use, how to implement something. But then developers would just execute even on the solution I defined. If you do that, you can be sure of something. Developers will hate you because developers want to make decisions. Developers want to ensure they are accountable and responsible for the how. And what you should understand is, for example, you talk to the business about a new opportunity. Let's say you realize there's a possibility of implementing artificial intelligence in part of your solution. And then you start thinking how to do it. That is wrong. You should just bring to the team. You don't need to spend time on the solution. You should ask the team, we have this opportunity here. How could we do that? And then the team will figure that out. It's not because you have a development background that you should hide these kind of things from the team and make decisions for them. You bring the problem to them and they will figure out. Together, we find a better solution. That is very important to be successful. The fourth problem I want to talk to you is about the big picture. As a developer, we focus on the sprint. We focus on delivering what has to be delivered. And then we really focus on the small things. It is easy for us to miss the big picture. But once you move to become a product owner, then you have to focus on the big picture. And you have to see how achieving the sprint goal will collaborate to the product goal. If you don't have this connection, then you are failing as a product owner because you have to guide the team on this. The team generally doesn't have the time to think about all the details of the big picture, but you should ensure that you have that and you bring to the team to ensure they are focusing on something that is important for the goal. But not only the sprint goal, but the product goal, or for example, the quarterly goal. But if you fail to keep this in mind, you can be sure that surprises are going to happen and they are not going to be pleasant because it can be that you go to a different direction because you lost track of the big picture. And the fifth trap waiting for you is the communication. It's totally different how you communicate as a product owner than how you communicate as a developer. You need to have a more adaptive way. Because, for example, the language you talk to business is different than the language you talk to developers. And you need to adapt that. Because if you try to talk a tech language that you use with developers to the business, it's just not going to work. Business will not connect to what you want to say, and then you will also not connect to what they want to say. And the same goes to the clients and end users. If you want to understand them, you need to talk their language. You see, developers are used to programming language. You talk to that, you live in the bubble, and you talk a lot about technical aspects. But once you become a product owner, that's going to change. You can talk the technical language to developers, but still you have to bring them the orientation to achieve the goal. You don't focus on the how. You let developers find the how. And with the business, you adapt to their language. And with the customers, the same. So this is a big challenge for developers. I personally suffered quite a lot because I was used to talk in technical terms. And I realized that business didn't understand anything I wanted to say. And we couldn't solve any problem because I was trying to push my way to the business instead of adapting to their way. And that's what you should do as a product owner. To summarize everything I have just said, if you want to move from developer to product owner, it's a great transition because you understand how things are done from the development side, and that will be very helpful for you because then you can connect the dots easily. But also, you have to be careful with many traps ahead of you. And the first of them is who you represent. You know you represent the end users and you don't represent developers. And the other aspect is about making decisions. You have to make decisions for the product. It's not for the technology. And then it is about also making decisions you bring to the team when it's in terms of technology. You don't make decisions on the behalf of developers. And the other aspect is about the big picture. You need to ensure you have that in mind, and you need to transport that to the Scrum team. And the last aspect is the communication. You have to adapt the way you communicate to people. If you don't do that, you will fail, because communication is the key skill of successful product owners. Have you ever done this transition? Are you planning to do so? Write the comments and then we can exchange more on that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want more content similar to this one, just subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.